Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Julie from the StoryADay podcast here. Where have I been? I know I've not been in your podcast app for a while. And let me tell you why. I've been doing a new project, which involves, writing, which is great. I've had a few projects going on that involve intensive writing. And I love doing this podcast. I love talking. I love radio. I love podcasting. And I've been doing it for a long time. But when I'm busy, the production work takes quite a lot of time, and the idea of doing it well, which I try to do, and getting it out properly is the thing that stalls me. So I'm thinking about how to do that, whether I need to outsource some of that, which of course is a cost. So I'm thinking about that and how to offset that. But that's why, I haven't been putting out substandard podcasts, but I have been writing a lot and thinking about writing, and I've been pouring that into written offerings in my email newsletter and on the site, and I've been writing something every week for the past 9 or 10 weeks called Something for the Weekend. And what I'm going to do for the next few weeks, I have some plans for the podcast. One of my plans is to get a bunch of authors in here again, do a bunch more interviews, which I've done in the past. And I really love to focus on short story writers. And this time of year, which is spring here in the US, is great because so many of the awards that are awarded for last year's stories are announced at this time of year, finalists and long lists and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm tapping some of those to get you guest prompts for the StoryADay May challenge, which is coming up, which of course is taking up a lot of my time. But what I want to do is get a bunch of those wonderful short story writers on here to talk about not just their stories, but about the practice of being a writer and how they do it and how they make it work. And because I think that is the thing that is the hardest to do, is the mindset part of this. So I want to get them on here, do a season of those. But for the moment, what I'm going to do while I'm working towards doing that is I'm just going to record the weekly essays that I am writing. They're not really essays, they're love letters to you writers. They come out of my reading and writing each week. They come out of the things that I've been thinking about for the past 15 years and more, and from my new and renewed commitment to my own writing, which is of course teaching me stuff. And I love learning, and I love telling you what I'm learning so that it sticks in my head. I'm also bringing you things that I'm learning from within the StoryADay community, the Superstars group that is always growing and will be opening up again soon. And so that's what's coming. You're going to get some short podcasts over the next few weeks with less of this rambling, but more focused love letters to you, a writer. And I hope that will be fun for you. I'm also quite likely to be doing them just as audio because I don't always feel like getting on camera. So if you're following this on YouTube, you'll see some shorts from me there encouraging you, especially in April, to join up and sign up for StoryADay May. You may not see these podcasts so much with my face on them because it's just another barrier, and I'm all about removing barriers to your writing, to your creativity, to your productivity. And if there is one little niggling thing that is holding you back, fix it. Right? So one of the things that holds me back from doing podcasts is when I think about doing them on video, I'm like, I should probably put something on my face to make me look a little less red, or, is my hair behaving today? Have I brushed my teeth? Are my eyes open? And sometimes I just don't feel like thinking about any of those things. And I think my voice is what you're here for anyway, because that's what people tell me. So audio over nothing. And YouTube can like it or lump it. You're probably subscribed to this elsewhere. You're hearing it on the site, or it's in a podcast app or something like that. So I'll be coming more often. Again, back to the weekly schedule as much as I can. And And here comes your first segment from the Something for the Weekend letters that I've been sending out this year. You can subscribe to those by coming to StoryADay.org/sign up. That will also sign you up at the moment for the Story a Day challenge. You don't have to take part, but it's kind of nice to get the prompts in your inbox every morning, so you probably want to do that. It'll also get you on the list to receive these missives by email every Friday. The podcast episode and the written episode may not coincide every week because I've got a little bit of a backlog that I want to get through with you here on the podcast, and also just to keep you on your toes. So anyway, here we go with this week's Something for the Weekend. Of pachyderms and StoryADay podcast. When I surveyed the StoryADay community, the message StoryADay.org, you'd like a little something for the weekend to be a writer every day, remind you not to write. So let's get started. First, a letter from me written in early 2025, and then some writing prompts. So let's talk about the elephant in the room in early 2025. Writers tend to be a pretty progressive lot. Our self-imposed job is to think about why people are the way they are, and this leads to us having compassion for other creatures and for our environment, and it often leads to an urge to improve our institutions and our communities. And there's no doubt this is a tough time for the compassionate. The loudest voices, again, are telling us that we're kidding ourselves, that we're fools, and that we're being taken advantage of because we're compassionate. But we're not. You know that, and you're not wrong. And we are not the minority. Those of us who can must keep as cheerfully as possible reminding everyone of those things. Story a Day is my sliver of the writing sphere, and it is resolutely a place where people are welcomed with respect, encouragement, acceptance, and a loving kick in the pants when they're not living up to their own, sometimes secret, expectations for themselves. I always say the only thing I will not tolerate is intolerance. Still here? Okay, then I have more words for you. Fiction is not about escapism. I mean, it can be, but mostly creative writing is the spoonful of sugar that helps the truth go down. The truth of what it is to be human. The truth of the horrors we see and the heroes that fight them. The truth that it is possible to create and live in better worlds. I know you might feel pulled away to pay attention to the news, but remember, your creative writing matters, whether you're writing fiction or creative non-fiction. Your writing is a lifeline to yourself and to others who are drowning in a sea of headlines and clickbait. It's a respite from the sometimes brilliant non-fiction we all consume daily. People need a break. Let's give it to them. Let's make good trouble with our writing, as Senator John Lewis advocated. And illegitimus non carborundum, as British intelligence used to say during the Second World War. Roughly translated, don't let the bastards get you down. On that note, here are some story sparks for you to help you write. I've been amusing myself by posting story sparks as short reels early this year. During January and February I spent a lot of time creating daily writing prompts as short videos, and on this episode you can find a link to a place where the first 7 of those are listed. In the notes I will put the playlist on YouTube that you can follow them all, and some links to places on my site where you can see them. But the story sparks were titled, in case you don't want to do any of that, they were titled A Fresh Start, then Under the Weather, A Warm-Up, Sad Decorations, A Controversial Conversation, Weather Happens, and This Old House. Some of those videos were filmed in Scotland when I was back home for a trip, so there's some beautiful scenery if you want to watch them, and a little short explanation of what I'm talking about for each of those titles. They are about a minute long each. There's even a castle. If you have any questions or fears or are stuck on anything to do with your writing or are ready to join me at the Writing Barricades, send me a comment, leave a comment on this post at the website, and I will do my best to address your question in an upcoming missive. Keep writing, Julie. Thanks for listening. Why not come over to the blog at StoryADay.org and check out this week's writing prompts and articles. And in the meantime, have a great creative week and of course, keep writing.